Welcome to the Evolution Magazine Live Series. It is Thursday, April 15th, 2021, and we are broadcasting live from COCO Labs manufacturing facility in Clarence, Missouri. Tonight we have Clayton Stallings with the Evolution Magazine sitting down with the COCO Labs team to give a behind-the-scenes look at a cannabis processing facility. Don't miss a special product announcement later on, and be sure to watch for those giveaways. Our show will get underway in just a few moments, but first, a word from our sponsors. The Missouri Cannabis Industry Association has been our longest-running show sponsor, while providing quality education over many topics in partnership with area cannabis professionals. MCIA is dedicated to a free cannabis market to create supplies and prices that are patient-friendly, with initiatives to support adult-use cannabis, to protect home growers' rights, and expand the caregiving program. Go to mocia.org to learn about memberships, to learn about their certified caregiving program, and learn how to get involved. Thank you, MCIA, for being a show sponsor. Welcome to COCO Labs. The COCO Labs team is very excited and grateful to be a part of the emerging Missouri medical cannabis industry, providing the industry with high-quality concentrates, vapor products, RSO, and edibles. With a limited number of products rolling out this April, they will continue to build their product line throughout the year. Check them out online at cocolabsco.com to learn more about the products they offer. The COCO Labs team would like to thank everyone for this amazing opportunity to serve you. Kansas City Cannabis Company, redefining the approach to improving the quality of life of its community by investing in an extensive educational program for staff and patients alike. With a curated and thoroughly tested menu of premium products, Kansas City Cannabis Company is setting the bar for product knowledge and variety while offering a patient experience unmatched in the industry. With a wide range of discounts, incentives, and access to affordable medicine, guarantees Kansas City Cannabis Company will meet the needs of every patient and leave a lasting impression you won't soon forget. Join in the grand opening celebration along with the Evolution Live Series, product vendors, DJs, food trucks, prize bags, and more on 420 in Blue Springs. Kansas City Cannabis Company, the grand opening. Tonight's video is provided by Cat King Films. Check this out. Cat King Films is offering promotional content, commercials, training videos, wedding videos, and documentary-style video production at an affordable price. A free consultation comes with every project to ensure that it is personalized to your brand. Check out previous projects by exploring the different sections on the newly launched website at catkingfilms.com.
Hello, Missouri friends, Missouri patients, Evolution family. Welcome to the Evolution Live Series. Tonight is a very awesome show. We have our very first live show from a manufacturing facility here in Clarence, Missouri. We have some exciting products to show you. We have some behind-the-scenes look at some of the equipment, how some of these products were made, and we're also going to get to know the staff here at COCO Labs. But before we dive into that, I just want to say thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks to MCIA. They have a great patient caregiver program. If you're looking to link up with a patient or patient caregiver, reach out to them. They'll help you through that process. Thanks to MCIA for being a sponsor. Also, Kansas City Cannabis Company. Their grand opening is going to be on 420. We'll be doing a live broadcast from their grand opening. And they are working with COCO Labs on a very special product, patient-focused program that we're going to get into later on the second half of this program as we're rolling out, or as we're talking about some of the products that are going to be rolling out here very shortly with some video of those products being made. So before we dive in, also wanted to remind you guys, this is an interactive show. If you have questions for the staff here at COCO Labs about their products, about how it was made, feel free to type those in the comments. We'll bring those up on the monitor here and we'll ask those questions to them. And then also we have some great giveaways tonight. We have 2 free gift cards to Kansas City Cannabis Company. So tag a friend in the comment box. You can tag as many friends as you would like. You get entered into that competition each time. So tag a friend, bring them into this conversation here on our very first live show from COCO Labs. Without further ado, why don't we get to know some of the staff that's here at the table with us, and let's start over here on this side with Brooke Foster. Brooke, why don't you tell us your role here at COCO Labs?
Well, like you said, my name is Brooke Foster, and I am the CEO of COCO Dispensaries and COCO Labs, and we are super excited to have you guys here, and you were willing to make the jaunt out from Kansas City to God's country here in Clarence. So thank you guys for coming out.
Cool, and you want to take it over next?
Yeah, Sean Carriger. I'm our Chief Operations Officer, so all things lab, all things ops.
Very cool. And then how about over here?
And I'm Ethan Foster. I'm our quality manager here at COCO Labs.
And I'm Tampow, and I'm our production manager.
So Dylan and Ethan and Brooke, and correct me if I'm wrong, most of the staff that works here at the lab are from the Clarence.
Which we are in Shelby County, and I went to high school here, and I live in Macon, Missouri now, which is only about 10 miles to the west. So this is where I grew up and have lived my whole life. Went to college at Mizzou, but have always been in this area.
So what was life like before you guys started to, like before Amendment 2? Let's start there. What did you do around this area?
Well, my life was a lot calmer. So my family's in the grocery business. That's what we do. We have 11 stores in Northeast and North Central Missouri, and my father started the grocery chain, and then I went to work for them. My husband works for them. My brother-in-law and sister work for them. It's a family affair. So we've been doing it, not me, I'm not this old, but we've been doing it since 1957. So my background is retail grocery.
Very cool, very cool. And I love it when people, whenever we see license winners that are from the community and they've come together to help get involved in the industry, and you employ people that are local in the community as well. So Sean, you're not from around here, so we'll come back to you here shortly. Sure. You're the expertise. Obviously, every team has to have that person with expertise that's going to come in and help them prepare for the licensing, and then post licensure help them get it set up and running. But tell us like your background in this area.
So I'm Ethan Foster. Brooke's my mother. I'm 23 years old. I recently graduated from Mizzou. That's actually where me and Dylan met. Basically, I was a plant science major there. We both emphasized, we're both plant science majors, but I'll let Dylan speak for himself. But we emphasized in breeding, biology, biotechnology. So my true specialty is definitely cultivation. But obviously I have a good chem background through that plant science progress. But basically knew I was getting into cannabis about 2017, and then from there it kind of took off. Had an internship out in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and me and Dylan grew about 60 acres of hemp together the past summer as we were writing applications. So been wanting to do this for a while.
So you guys were growing, this was last summer?
Yep.
And you guys were there?
So I take that back, summer 2019.
Okay.
Yep, summer 2019, 2020 was all, construction and SOPs, going through commencement, all that jazz. But summer 2019, we worked in Illinois and we grew 60 acres of hemp. So it was a good time, a lot of sweat out there, but yeah, good time.
And that was after the both of you graduated from MU?
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
And then why don't you tell us about that experience a little bit, Dylan?
I mean, it was, you're out in the field with a hoe, you're out in the field with a backpack sprayer. It's long days, but learned a lot, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
Cool. And speaking of long days, I just wanted to let you guys know they have been working nonstop for the past 3 to 4 weeks every day, haven't taken a day off because they're finally able to fulfill these orders. And obviously 420 is just right around the corner. So you guys have a lot of products you're trying to get out very quickly, and they even worked Easter. Forgive them, God. But they really have been working their tails off, crazy hours. We really appreciate you guys sticking around and adding a little extra time with us today. So back to Sean here. So Sean, you're the one that had the experience that came in. Why don't you give us a little bit about your background and then how you met the COCO team?
Sure. Yeah. In a prior life before cannabis, I worked in oil and gas. I was a rig manager for BP. And 2013, I got into the industry as an investor. And then the more I got involved with building out, it was on the manufacturing side, extraction side in Colorado. The more I got involved, the more I found out that there's a lot of similarities between oil and gas extraction and cannabis extraction and hydrocarbons and hazardous work environments. So I got more involved from a construction standpoint, and then eventually I got more involved in the company, became the CEO of that company, and was able to expand over into Oregon and then get vertically integrated in Oregon. We did extraction, cultivation, distribution, done a little international consulting, and then landed here in Kansas City. I have family here and ended up writing some applications with a bunch of good people, a lot of licensed winners, and found a great home with COCO, and very happy to be working in operations here.
Very cool. So let's talk about that pre-licensure. And by the way, stick around, audience. We got all that fun video stuff coming shortly. I just wanted to get a brief glimpse of how we got to where we're at now before we start to show those products and how they're made. Let's talk about pre-licensure. What was that like when you're writing those applications? Can you give me a little story of like what time was like back then?
Brooke can go ahead, yeah.
Wow, I can say I don't want to do it anytime again soon. One nice thing about the application process, though, is that the four of us at this table and then others in our group that aren't here tonight, but it did bring us together because we were together nonstop. And just to share a funny story, when it was like literally 102 degrees in August, and we were in our basement and everybody laptops open, we're writing as fast as we can, and my husband likes to keep the house like -20. It's so cold in there in the summer, and so we're with like sweatshirts and whatnot, and my nephew goes outside. He's like, does anyone know that it's like 102 degrees outside? I mean, we never left the house except like to go get food. So it was a crazy process. But we wrote the application. The one thing I can say about this team is we were very Missouri focused, and with the exception of this outsider, everybody is pretty much, and he had big Missouri roots too, but we're all about Missouri. All of our dispensaries and this lab, everything you see, it was touched by Missouri hands. Every contractor was from Missouri. I could go on and on. The people that built these cabinets are local. Everything we've done has been about Missouri, and our group is Missouri. So, we're just thrilled to be a part of it. But I am glad the application process is over. Yeah. And those that are watching that went through it, Complia is not your friend either, but we did manage to navigate that finally.
Very cool. So, let's talk about the licenses. The licenses you won. Obviously, you got the manufacturing license, and then you have the dispensaries. How many dispensaries, and where are those located?
We have 3 dispensaries. That's another thing. We focused on North Missouri, so that's where we're from. That's where we're deeply rooted. Moberly, Hannibal, and Chillicothe are our 3 dispensaries. We're in smaller markets, but we felt really strongly that, people outside of Kansas City, St. Louis, Columbia, Springfield deserved a chance and easy access to their medicine. So we only focused on this region. And we had, some degree of success to get those licenses. So we're super happy to be open and to be able to serve the patients here. And we're grateful that they don't have to drive 2 hours to, obtain their medicine.
So you don't have to answer this next one because I know sometimes this is touchy for some groups. But were there licenses that you applied that you did not get? Is that
Clayton, don't get me started. We did. We applied for 2 cultivation, and honestly, we missed it by the skin of our chinny chin chin. We finished number 71 and 78. We have appealed those.
And that was out of 60, just for the viewers that don't know the numbers. So that's very, very close because
we missed it by 10 points, the equivalent of 1 question. And, very similar story to many of the other folks in Missouri, and I won't bore you with that. We have appealed and we're hopeful, but, it is what it is there. But we were super grateful to get what we did receive. Primarily the lab and the 3 dispensaries. We also applied for 2 dispensaries that we didn't get, which is a little weird. We were the top application in one district, and in that same application didn't get a license in another. But that's kind of how it all panned out this round. But
sure.
And I don't know that we could have gotten anything else opened in this amount of time anyway. So maybe it's a good thing for at least for the current situation.
And here in a little bit, I want to talk about the significance of being a manufacturing facility without having a cultivation license and the challenges you may face with that. But we'll get to that maybe with some of the videos we have coming up here shortly. How about post licensure? With COVID, I know that affected a lot of teams. What was y'all's experience? Do you want to try to take that one, or?
I mean, yeah, I'd be happy to. I know a lot of people struggled with COVID. It obviously set a lot of groups back, but I will sit here and say the COCO team really did not get set back in a sense. There were certain things here and there, contractors, contracting COVID, being out, so that kind of delayed some things. But, for us, we just chugged right along. For instance, like every single R3 licenses, we did all of the own demo. Just like Dylan and I, we have the 3 more young guys that were with us, slinging sledgehammers. We demoed all of our 3 dispensaries, our lab here, which really prepped it pretty quickly for the contractors to come in and finish their construction. But we had our money raised, we were ready to go. So when it was time to really implement and build out these facilities, we hit the ground running.
Right on. And so after you got the facility up and built, then obviously you got to, especially with the dispensaries, because your dispensaries opened up first before the manufacturing. The lab just got past its commencement. How many weeks? It's been
March 5th.
March 5th.
March 5th, we got the letter to operate.
Okay, so very, very recently, or not too long ago. The dispensaries got their letter to operate first, right?
Correct.
And then you had to train them. So I think you guys were working with the cannabis care team.
Yeah, they've been an integral part of our training. We are really grateful to have met that team. April, Heidi, Matt, they're great people. And every time I listen to them, I certainly learn something more every single time. So we've partnered with them on a lot. And even now, as we hire new people, we don't bring them out for just a couple of employees, but they've put together a Zoom training for our employees that's been super helpful. They're great.
And then you guys are working with them to start a reoccurring bud tender training course. And from what I've heard, I think it's June 15th is the first one?
June 12th.
June 12th, sorry.
June 12th in Columbia, yep.
So June 12th will be the very first bud tender training curriculum, and that's open to anyone, right?
We just... So the cannabis care team, and their medicine and their health focus and how cannabis affects the entire body, there's so much you can learn there. And then the one thing that we feel like COCO does really well, although I had not been in the cannabis, in the dispensary retail, obviously have a lot of retail experience and have managed to stay in business for 60 years. And so I have my own way of training and what we like to portray, our image, our customer service. We just want everyone to feel incredibly comfortable and welcome in COCO. So we just feel like we have some really good retail tips that could, help people in all parts of the state get jobs.
Very cool. So watch out for that, June 12th. You can also pick up the May issue of the Evolution magazine. There'll be an advertisement in there for that training course with a little more information on how you can sign up for that. So check that out in the magazine. Why don't we go ahead and just maybe dive into some of the video we've taken. James, before the video, though, I don't know if you have that picture of us all suited up that we can put up on the screen. Okay, no worries. No, so we don't have that picture, but we had to get suited up, full body suits, hair nets, the booties over the feet, masks, and you don't have to necessarily do this in all the manufacturing facilities. It's not a DHSS requirement, but you guys have a special certification. Can you explain more what that certification is and how you guys went about getting that?
I'm going to let Sean take that one.
Sean.
Sure. So we're a GMP compliant facility. So GMP stands for Good Manufacturing Practices. It's an industry standard that a lot of non-cannabis industries use. It's also an international standard. A lot of pharmaceutical type manufacturing companies utilize it. And it's just a method of compliance, facility, build out, equipment choices, processes, documentation to ensure that you have product consistency and quality in a repeated process. So, it's a voluntary action on our part. Federally speaking, what we're doing is still illegal, so there's no FDA involved in the cannabis industry at this point in time.
Is that an FDA certification, or is that a certification in lieu of whatever the FDA could give you?
It's in line with the FDA. So GMP, operating your business according to GMP standards will put you in compliance with the FDA. So it's something that we're forward thinking on. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. And if things keep progressing on a federal level as far as cannabis goes with the Banking Act and things becoming federally decriminalized or things, it's definitely a situation where we want our facility to be compliant, 2 years in the future, 5 years in the future, et cetera. And then all the products we carry, get stamped with a GMP logo on it. And it's a communication to the consumers that, the products we make are safe, reliable, and are produced in a very clean environment.
So it's a whole another set of regulations outside of DHSS. And basically what you're doing is you're just preparing COCO Labs for once it does go federally, you're already ready. And there's probably going to be a lot of facilities out there that are going to have to spend a lot of money to retrofit these, requirements. So it's super smart. And not only that, it separates you guys out from the other manufacturing facilities because it says, hey, we're doing extra stuff to make sure this is safe for you to consume at home. So I don't like to wear a hairnet or a big bodysuit, but I do like that you guys have that extra sticker on your product. So I'll definitely be looking for that whenever I'm shopping in the future. So
yeah, it was a little bit painful process, especially for these guys. I mean, because you know the documentation and the batch processes, and I don't even know a lot about it myself, but we were kind of like, we haven't started yet, so instead of going back, let's just start from scratch and do it right the first time. So we basically hired a consultant to help us through that process, and he actually does Pfizer.
Pfizer. He's compliant on fentanyl, exactly. So, and he's really trying to, he wants to get into the cannabis space and wants to see, a lab being compliant. So he was super eager about, welcoming us and helping us go through the steps. And, kudos to Sean, because a lot of the GMP process is how you design the facility. Easy to wash walls, coving at the, baseboard. Basically a lot of, facility design is what goes into GMP. So as you were talking about, a facility isn't GMP now and it's trying to be, that's going to be a lot of, retrofitting their current facility to, reach that status.
Right on.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, cool. So we know more about the certification. We now understand why we're wearing these ridiculous outfits while we're taking this tour. So James, why don't you kind of show some video here of the first area that we visited, and then we can kind of just round table what's going on, and maybe we can start with Sean here. Sure. And let us know whenever you. There we go.
So yeah, this is our biomass storage room where we also handle all of our dry goods. So basically anytime we're intaking cannabis, whether it's going to be used for pre-rolls or further prepared for extraction, this is the area where we intake everything. We sort it, weigh it out. That's where our intake process and transfer manifests all get validated. And so, we sort through product. What they're doing right here is de-stemming. A lot of times in the grinding process, depending on your product or your inputs, stems ground up not only takes away from the actual quality of the product, but it has a tendency to rip the papers and can have a negative impact on the product quality. So we like to try to prep the material as good as possible. And then any product that is going to be used for extraction goes into cryo freezers. These freezers actually go to negative 80 degrees. And those are in 2.5 pound increments there. Our BHO extraction system, everything is kind of on even numbers in 5, so it makes it really easy for us to prepare material in 2.5 pound increments and get it ready for extraction.
And let's talk about the significance of why these things are labeled. So can you pause that, James, there, and then tell us what you don't have to tell us who it's from. It's up to you on that part. But tell us the significance of why
Sure.
you're so diligent in tracking everything so well.
Sure, I don't mind. We're very thankful. This is Flora Farms material right there, and we identify basically every metric that would be important for us to know where this material came from and when we received it. So we identify the cultivator, the batch number, the metric number, the date, the quantity, the weight of what we have there, the strain type, basically anything and everything we know, like exactly what it is, when we got it, where it came from. That way all that information can flow through on the product, and that's a big part of the GMP process is document. So all of this gets logged and is very transparent, and that's the big part of GMP is if there's any question about how our products were made, it's a historical data log sheet. And so you'll know everything from the time it came in, time-stamped, to where it was stored and everything from there.
And then on top of that, you can go ahead and play it, James. On top of that, if there was an issue, right? Because this has not been tested yet, has it, or has it?
So on biomass, what we call biomass or trim that's coming in, the state has mandated that if it only needs tested prior to end user consumption. So what we do to help expedite the process is we take the trim in from the cultivator, and then we do an R&D test on it prior to extraction. So we do send everything out for testing prior to doing anything with it. It's not a full compliance panel that just adds a few more items to the list, but we test things like moisture content, pesticides, heavy metals, potency, to know a baseline of what we're working with prior to actually extracting it.
And then after you get to the end product, you have to test it again, right?
Correct.
So you guys are having to pay for 2 tests.
Yeah, it's that part's not so great for the testing companies, but it's just an extra layer of assurance to make sure that the product's going to be clean, quality. Even in a scenario like our pre-rolls, we only do nug run pre-rolls, so we intake quality A-bud flour, and that is compliance tested, and then we grind it and put it into pre-rolls, and then that gets tested again just in case there was something in our process that possibly could have exposed it to some contaminant.
Wow, that's some due diligence right there. You can go ahead and play that, James, because that leads us right into this is the pre-roll machine here. You want to? One of you guys, Dylan? You want to?
Yeah. So this is our pre-roll machine. It does about 454 joints in about 2 minutes. So what we do is we intake our product, and being that each strain and each batch is different in itself, they will have different moisture contents. So what we do is we take that moisture content, we run what's called a density test, and through that moisture content, it tells us what our settings want to be with like our shaker speed and our airbag pressure, and then through that we can kind of get a calculation on what parameters need to be set for our machine to get the correct density.
Wow, so it's moisture content specific on how it packs those joints each time.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I did not know that. That's pretty cool. And tell us one more time, how many does it do and how much time?
So it does 454. I say it does 2 minutes, but it honestly depends on that density. It depends on what your cycle time is going to be and how long you're going to run your system for. So depending on that calculation, it could be anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes. But yeah, it'll do 454 joints, and you'll see right here as we pour it, you'll see it shaking, you'll see the mud falling through, and then it will give us our even pack that we are shooting for.
And then after it's all evened out and it's ran and it's done and it stops the vibration because it's on its own timer, right? And then after it's done, somebody still has to come back in and pack the ends, right? And then,
So it's a semi-automated process, and it really helps with the most labor-intensive part of it, which is truly packing the cone. So this packs it to the current weight. We just verify the weight afterwards, and then we seal it off and kind of make it tighter and more presentable and easier to smoke.
And Sean, you said that you tested before this, and then after this, how many of those do you test per batch, or how do you decide?
So testing varies. It's basically based on batch size or quantity. So there's certain thresholds based on what your batch size is. Say every 10 pounds they take, I can't remember what it is, 16 grams, something like that. So it just depends on how many pounds of a given strain that we have. Every strain is treated as its own unique batch. And so, they do the finished product testing. So depending on how many strains we have, and if we exceed, say, a 10-pound limit or something smaller than that, smaller batch sizes have their own testing sampling amounts. Yeah.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, that's a good segue into this next video here. Ethan, you want to talk about this part here?
Yeah. So this is what we're currently using is a hydrocarbon butane extraction system. This is from Open Source Steel. Shout out to Josh DeLay out in Washington there, great guy. What I'm doing right here is I'm filling our material column. We've got 2 material columns, each hold 5 pounds each, so we can do 10 pounds at a time. Basically, you pack the column pretty good. We use PVC. There's some thing about the cannabis industry, not a lot of inventions out there, so you kind of got to be creative. We'll pack the column. We'll then lid it off. As you can see, we have jacketed vessels. Our storage tank there is frosted over. One thing about extraction: colder the solvent, colder the room, colder the product, better the product. So cold is better in extraction, especially in the hydrocarbon side.
And that's what helps those trichomes to break loose, right?
Exactly.
Is the colder temperature.
Yep.
With terpene degradation.
Yep.
Say that again.
Slows down terpene degradation.
Okay, I did not know that. That's good to know. Slows down terpene degradation. So basically, go ahead.
So I'm tying off the bag here. We didn't get a full shot on it, but we would eventually cap it. We would then pressure test the system, vacuum test the system. Then at that point, we are ready to rock and roll. So basically, the solvent flows in through the top, washes over the material column. The oil and solvent mixture will come out the bottom through a manifold and then pulled by a pump over into our evaporator vessel. And basically from there, the solvent oil mixture will just kind of bubble. The solvent will, evaporate off. Then we will actually recollect. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. I think here in a second you kind of walk us through the line.
Yeah.
So, but while you're securing the lid here, how long did you practice to learn this equipment?
We've probably got, 50, 60 hours on it now. It's honestly, I know a lot of viewers are probably looking saying, oh, that looks very complicated, but it's actually a very trainable system. And that's one thing, about all this equipment that people will see in this video. We can train anyone on all of it. The machine does what the machine does. And once you're taught the correct valves to turn and pressure to put, it's a pretty simple process at that point.
And so, Sean, you're the one that taught them how to do this whole process, right?
Oh, I won't take full credit for that. Josh from OSS is a specialist in hydrocarbon. I certainly have some years of experience, but we had Josh come out and give us a full week of run through, especially with 2 new operators.
He's really probably the best in the business.
Yeah, he consults all over the country. He owns and operates Open Source Steel, and so he's really specialized knowledge in this space. And just tricks of the trade. Anytime you're really focused on one activity, you get pretty dang good at it.
Yeah.
So,
hey James, you want to back it up just a hair? I think that's where Ethan was walking us through. Why don't you kind of walk us through while you're showing it on the camera there?
So I probably got a little fast in the video, but basically all of our hydrocarbon butane propane mixture is stored in that storage vessel there that you see frosted over. We chill it down to negative 50 degrees Celsius. From there, it is then pumped through that line that my hand's running across. It will go through a manifold and up and over where we will inject it into the material column. And basically from there, it will flood down through the material. The solvent will actually strip out, all the cannabinoids, the terpenes, fats and lipids, the chlorophyll that comes with it. It goes out the bottom, as I do, through another manifold out the bottom. and then is pulled up through that line there into our evaporator vessel, where it will eventually boil off the solvent. We will recollect it. It's a closed loop system. We lose about probably 2 to 3% solvent per run, but very efficient in recollecting and keeping the environment safe without exposing that solvent to the air.
Okay, and cool. And so I think the next video might be, well, let's see I got to remember what we're doing here. So
That's the CRC.
So explain the difference. So next to that machine that you were just describing as a CRC. So what are we looking at now? What is that? Can you pause that for a second there, Jane?
Either Dylan can explain
you
or
wanna
I.
jump in?
Get it. So it stands for color remediation column, and basically through this process we can remediate product that could have failed testing. So if cultivators have a lot that, let's say they had some heavy metals or pesticides show up, we can actually run it through our system, and using these powders right here, it's basically clay, silica, Magasil, and what we do is we run the material through it, and they actually are charged to where they strip it, literally the pesticides and the heavy metals from it.
Yeah, so like heavy metals or cations, these powders are like a clay, and basically you layer them within this column to what you're trying to pull. So like that T5, for instance, it's great on heavy metal remediation. It's got a high affinity in that clay that will actually pull that heavy metal cation. That's an anion, like negatively charged powder, and will pull out that heavy metal cation, which will actually clean the oil, and then you would put it into our evaporator vessel, where we will then collect the solvent, and then you're left with your cleaned oil in the end.
So the first process, what's the first process called? It's with butane, or the first one is with butane, right?
Yeah, so the first one just a general butane extraction, and then we will only use CRC if we do, see a problem, if it's good in the sense of like if cultivator were to fail testing and they can't do anything with the trim, they could sell it to us and we could be able to use it, put it through CRC, and clean that product and bring it to market.
And so the first one's more of a full spectrum product that comes out. The second one is not full spectrum. It's just pretty much
Almost like an insurance policy.
Yeah, with stripping it of the fats and lipids, terpenes tend to bind to those fats and lipids, so you might get a little terpene loss as well. But it's really the chlorophyll and everything that's being stripped through. So I mean, it's not as full spectrum.
Okay, got it. So this is the other machine, and this is the third machine that's in that same room. Can you walk us through what we're looking at here?
Yeah. So in this video here, basically you're seeing all of our ethanol side of the equipment and the production of products. So our ethanol system will create all our tinctures, our RSO, our vape cartridges, and all of our edibles. Basically, I'm starting here at the permacool system. This takes our ethanol, we'll chill it down to negative 40 degrees Celsius, as I said, and extraction, the colder the better. So we chill our ethanol, we then pump our ethanol from that permacool system to our delta separations, our cup 15. Basically there is when we actually load the trim. We do 15-pound batches. It takes about 30 minutes. And it's a centrifuge type system where basically it spins at high rates of speed. It is washed over with the ethanol, and we'll pull out strip the trim of the cannabinoids and the terpenes. So we've now made our oil solvent mixture. Then I'm walking over to our True Steel AV15, which is our solvent recovery vessel. Basically the oil is collected on the one side, solvent boils off through our condensing line there. We will then take the solvent, spin it back to our permacool system. It's also closed loop, so we keep everything all the ethanol that we put into it. Eventually, you're left with the oil in the end. The oil is then transferred to our DR10, also by True Steel, where we go through the decarboxylation process, where we actually activate the cannabinoids within that oil to allow the absorption within the human endocannabinoid system.
And you can pause it after this, but I want to point out, so these are all flammable,
explosion proof.
So this is an explosion proof room. That's an explosion proof camera. You want to tell us more about what that means and how much work is involved with that?
Yeah, so especially because we have hydrocarbon extraction, we have two types of solvents used within the room. The big fear and what hits the news is when people are doing open blasting or they're trying to do a home extraction kit. Inevitably a spark or a flame causes an ignition or an explosion, and that's worst case scenario. We want to do everything we can to avoid that. So A lot of states, I think pretty much everyone at this point is requiring most extraction rooms where the primary extraction takes place, or where these solvents, gases, or flammable liquids are being used, to be explosion proof, which is a class 1, division 1 or division 2 environment, and that's an electrical code. So instead of your standard outlets, you have to have these special C1D1 or C1D2 outlets or equipment, just like this camera. You can't have a standard camera in there, and the reason that orange cylinder over it makes it intrinsically safe, which means it's impossible for a spark or an arc or anything to ignite any flammable substance within the room. And that goes for all the outlets in the room. Anything you see that's energized, all the equipment is rated specifically for that. So unless we walk into the room with a cell phone or a lighter or a lit cigarette or something that shouldn't be in that room, it's literally impossible for us to create an explosion in there. We could have an overpressure event or a leak or something like that, but no fire. Yeah.
And you can keep that playing there, James, because I think there's a few more shots of some of the stuff inside that explosion-proof room there. That's that's
a LEL meter, which just it's programmed right now for butane. It's basically a sensor to detect the hazardous gas within the room. So it's running at all times, even when it's independently powered. So even when we de-energize the room, it's on a battery backup system, so it's always working, and it's tied into our ventilation and exhaust equipment. So if it detects any perceivable amount of butane, those exhaust systems and emergency exhaust systems automatically kick on and exhaust all of the air out of the room. And the thing with butane, it's actually heavier than air, so it hangs out down on the ground. And so all of the ventilation is specifically designed to be able to pull any sort of that hazardous gas out of the room.
It looks like we have our very first question here. And by the way, guys, feel free to ask questions. We will get to them. Not sure who sent it, but it says, does butane destroy any terpenes?
In my experience, and just to clarify, we do run a hybrid gas solution. So we like to do a 70-30, which is 70% isobutane and in propane. And so, it's a blend, and a lot of guys do different blends. You can do straight butane. You can have triple types of blends. But in my experience, actually, and everyone has an opinion on that, is that hydrocarbon is actually pretty dang good at pulling terpenes. There are other extraction methods. CO2, there's a lot of people who use CO2 specifically to extract terpenes and terpenes only. But if we're talking about the full product, a comprehensive cannabinoid profile and terpenes, butane is actually a very effective solvent.
Okay. Yeah. Well, keep the questions coming, you guys. Why don't we take a little break here? I think we're kind of getting close to the commercial break. So before we take a little break, though, I want to remind you guys we're giving away 2 free gift cards from Kansas City Cannabis Company. You can come out on 4/20 and hang out with us at their event that day. COCO Labs is going to be out there along with lots of other vendors. And we'll be going live every 30 minutes, influencing a different person in the industry, different influencer in the industry. But you can use your gift card there. So tag a friend, bring them into this conversation for a chance to win that gift card. And remember to ask some questions. When we come back from the break, we're going to show some pictures of some of the products. So we've seen how they've made it. We're going to see some of the end products and then have a few special announcements as well. So stick around. We're going to take a little break and check in and see what's happening with the Can of Convict Project.
Hey guys, Chris and Christina with the Can of Convict Project. Hope you're enjoying the show. Got a few short updates for you this evening.
We are going to start by talking about a couple upcoming events that we'll be at, and we hope to see everyone there. There is the April 17th at Happy Rock Farms that Vernon McClanahan is collaborating with them for. There's going to be a lot of your friends there, so I hope you all stop by and say hi to everybody. There's going to be an event on 4/20 From the Earth. There's Kansas City Cannabis. There's the Dab Stars event in Knob Noster with Saliva. So come and say hi to us at those as well. We'll have letters of support for our POWs there, so come please sign those. At the Saliva concert, Trevor Saller, who we're sending those letters of support for, his mom is going to try and make it, so hopefully she can make that happen and you guys can meet the mother of the POW who we're supporting, and she can meet all of you that are sending those letters out for her son. Also at the event, along with those letters, we'll have t-shirts that are available. We just recently got a new order. Thank you, Craig, with Sophisticate Hoosiers, who made that happen for us. Come in, buy a t-shirt, $25 a piece, and all the money goes directly towards the release efforts of the POWs. We have a couple court dates coming up that we want to talk about that we've been following for a while. The Wisdoms, they have a prelim hearing that is set for May 14th. And they recently were given private attorneys. And so what my thought is on that is that some attorneys sign up to do pro bono cases to make up for pro bono hours that they have to do throughout the year. So they might have signed up on the public defender's pro bono list. And that's how they were able to get these private attorneys, which is a wonderful thing. So we're really excited about that for them. And then Zacharias Salazar, who was supposed to have his jury trial on the 5th and 6th of this month, it was continued all the way out to October 4th, which sounds like a long ways away, and it really is, but it's going to fly by. And I always say that time is in favor of the defense. So the more time, the more we can continue this out, the better.
Also, we want to continue to support the MORE Act. Call your legislators, call everybody, just show as much support as you can. It's really important for our prisoners. It's going to be a very wide expungement going on with a lot of that, so just keep showing support for the MORE Act.
And it's so close, guys. I feel like it's so close, so just keep sending that, to information that you do support it to your representatives. One thing we have been working on recently for Trevor, outside of those letters of support for his clemency, is a furlough motion. His grandfather recently passed away, and his grandmother and great-grandmother are in very poor health as well. So there's a motion that could potentially get him released for 30 days. He would have to turn himself back in after those 30 days. But if he would have that opportunity to be with them as they pass, that would mean everything to him and his family. With Robert and Zach, we're still waiting on visits with them. I haven't gotten approval on the federal level for Zach yet, so we're waiting to hear on that. That's been sent in a request months ago, and the federal is open for visitation. So once we get that, we can scoot up there and see him in Leavenworth. And then Robert, I am approved as a visitor on his for Moberly, but their standard for opening back up visitation is going to be that 70% of the inmates are vaccinated. So they're working on that, and hopefully we can get in to see him soon.
And we just want to say, thank you so much to MCIA and the Evolution Magazine for giving us this weekly opportunity to update you guys and to really keep the focus on what's really important is all these cannabis prisoners sitting behind bars. So Clay, Bill, Vicky, Eric McSwain, everybody, all you guys, thank you so much for the opportunity. We hope you guys enjoy the rest of the show and have a happy 420.
See you soon.
Welcome to COCO Labs. The COCO Labs team is very excited and grateful to be a part of the emerging Missouri medical cannabis industry, providing the industry with high-quality concentrates, vapor products, RSO, and edibles. With a limited number of products rolling out this April, they will continue to build their product line throughout the year. Check them out online at cocolabsco.com to learn more about the products they offer. The COCO Labs team would like to thank everyone for this amazing opportunity to serve you. Kansas City Cannabis Company, redefining the approach to improving the quality of life of its community by investing in an extensive educational program for staff and patients alike. With a curated and thoroughly tested menu of premium products, Kansas City Cannabis Company is setting the bar for product knowledge and variety while offering a patient experience unmatched in the industry. With a wide range of discounts, incentives, and access to affordable medicine, guarantees Kansas City Cannabis Company will meet the needs of every patient and leave a lasting impression you won't soon forget. Join in the grand opening celebration along with the Evolution Live series, product vendors, DJs, food trucks, prize bags, and more on 420 in Blue Springs. Kansas City Cannabis Company, the grand opening.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Here is the exciting part of the show. We get to show you some really cool products now. There's a couple more processes maybe here first, but welcome back to the show. We got Brooke here, we got Sean, we got Ethan, we got Dylan, all from the COCO Labs staff here. So let's dive back into some of this video we took earlier today. And Sean, why don't you tell us what we're looking at?
Yeah, right here we're at our winterization station. So in our processes, mostly if say we're going to take our cannabis oil to the distillate level for vapes, winterization is just another process for pulling out fats and lipids, additional filtration. And that process is done at really low temperatures, minus 80 degrees. So that stainless stack right there is basically just progressive, more aggressive filters in each stack there. So we take our ethanol-based tincture, the ethanol mixed with the oil, and we pull it through that filter stack there, which pulls out any more of those fats and lipids. Just makes the oil more translucent, more clear, which is a desired outcome for the vape side of the business.
And I don't know if I quite understand that necessarily myself. I get it. I mean, I know it's it's per customer or per patient, but full plant the entourage effect, right, is the full spectrum, which is the darker color, right?
Right. There's unfortunately for those in the industry who have been around a long time, you're not so hung up on color. A lot of folks just desire or think that the lighter the yellow, the higher quality of the product. Unfortunately, that's not true. That's why a lot of people do tend to CRC their material, even when they don't need to, because it does dramatically improve the color. It pulls out a lot of those organic compounds that'll make it a little darker on the spectrum. But like you said, you're losing other secondary metabolites and other cannabinoids in that process, certainly terpenes. So it's one of those things where winterization itself won't necessarily affect the color. It will affect the clarity or stability. So, for example, on a product like shatter, some people really like that crispy, hard shatter. In order to do that, Dylan's holding up a slab right there. That's still warm and still kind of, soft in nature. But when you winterize it, you pull out those fats and lipids, and it's kind of like the fat in a steak. It's some of the flavor, but it's going to keep it pliable. And that's what we call our pull and snap.
Yeah. Hey, before James, can you back up a couple of slides back to the ovens? And there was a machine right beside the ovens. So the ovens are all where you stick that in, and that's where explain the ovens and explain what that machine does there.
So vac ovens, pretty standard product in the industry. So it's basically an oven. We don't really put them all that high temperature. Really don't put anything more than 105, 110 degrees. But it's under vacuum, so negative pressure, and that's the process, especially for hydrocarbon extracted oil. You have those gases trapped inside of the oil, and it bubbles, and that's our process of pulling all those residual solvents, pulling those gases out of the oil. That's what creates the bubble, and then that air or that gas that came out, it gets sucked through that pump and out, and to pull the residual solvents out of the product. That blue box to the right of it is actually a cold trap or a terpene trap. And so in the vacuum process, you're actually, terpenes are actually boiling off as well. So terpenes are a valuable commodity, especially cannabis-derived, cannabis strain-specific terpenes. And so this is an opportunity for us to actually capture those terpenes to be reintroduced into the product, or to reintroduce to a terpene-less product, say like distillate. You're losing a lot of that flavor along the way. And so it's an opportunity for us to just grab those terpenes and actually reuse them into the products.
So for the, I forgot the acronym already, the
CRC.
the CRC, because you're taking it through so much to get rid of stuff, you're going to lose. You mentioned you're going to lose a lot of terpenes in that process. So with this machine, you can actually collect terpenes and introduce it back into that later. Is that?
Yeah, we would mainly introduce it back into distillate. We really don't like to reintroduce terpenes into our hydrocarbons and our concentrates, but for our distillate, we can do strain specific with that.
Very cool. So you want to hit play again there, James, and we'll keep going. I want to go back to definitely see that that shatter again here in a second.
Sure.
But that's cool that there's the shatter.
I was going to throw in, you guys came just a day late, and those ovens were full just the day before, so sorry for the empty ovens there.
I'm just glad there was one left for us to
get
on camera.
Yeah,
so
the straggler.
That's the first that I've seen in the state here. I mean, of course, you see pictures like this from other states, but this is the first live example I've got to see local Missouri people making this product. So it was very exciting to see. So we'll go on with the video here, and then the video goes on to you guys doing some kind of Laffy Taffy. What's going on with this?
Yeah, so it's called Taffy Tech, and basically we're pulling the oil apart to kind of agitate it and introduce some oxygen into it. And what that does is causes nucleation, and then basically, as you see, it's like making taffy. So you're pulling it apart, you're folding it back on itself, you're twisting it up, and that kind of brings out a different color in it once it gets agitated. And then from there, we like to take it into our ovens, and we pull about 15 inches mercury vac on it, and then crank up our temps to about 110, 115, and that's how we create a crumble.
So that was the last step right before it turns into crumble on its last set in the oven.
Yeah.
And we have some shots of the crumble here coming up in a little bit, but before we go there, Sean, what are we looking at? What is this machine here?
You're looking at, it's our HVE white film distillation. It's missing some of the glassware on it, set to the side at the moment, but this is basically our distillate producing machine. And so we take our ethanol produced crude, put it in one end, it does its thing, comes out of the other. All of your organic compounds, the dark stuff, gets kicked out. Your crude goes in the high 50s, low 60s THC range, and single pass distillate will usually come out in the high 70s, low 80s. And then if you really want to crank up the potency, you can do a double pass. So it'll come out usually in that light amber to medium gold appearance, and in that 80-ish% range. And then if you passed it again, you'd end up with a 90% plus THC distillate. Wow. Very, very light in color. Yeah.
Wow. So this machine here, Ethan, you want to explain what this is?
So this is just our vape cartridge filling machine. It's by VapeJet. Basically, it's a computer-ran system where we use a camera. We will actually have its own dedicated computer that sits right next to it. And basically, using our computer and the camera within the system, it fills the vape cartridges. For those that don't know, vape cartridges come in very standard foam, like 100 packs. So all we'll have to do is really set in our packs, use our computer and the camera eye within the system to fill those 100 cartridges at a time. So it's a very speedy process. I'm not sure quite. I want to say it's like 100 cartridge in 10 to 15 minutes. So pretty efficient, and ready to fire it up and get some carts going. That's for sure.
Right on. So what about what are we looking at here, Sean?
So this is basically our nano emulsion tech. When distillate is an oil, and if we're going to use some distillate in an edible product or an infused product, we personally like to make that distillate water soluble. So this is our process for actually turning the distillate into a water soluble product. So we have the option to keep it as a liquid or as a powder. We can pull the water content out of that water soluble distillate and actually have it as a powder. So depending on whether we want to make gummies or our macrons or chocolate or any other product, just depending on the recipe formulation, if liquids would work better or powders would work better, we make that decision at that time. Mm-hmm. But it's pretty cool because, water-soluble distillate, it's more available for your body, and so it's, perceivably faster acting. That's usually, most people's bad experience with edibles is I take something and I don't feel anything for an hour and a half, and then I take another, and then I call my friends to take me to the hospital. Right? So this really eliminates that. All of our products we place made with rapid release technology. So we want people to know, like, you're going to feel this quickly. You're probably going to feel it within 15 minutes, and you're probably going to perceivably feel it stronger. Just because your body's absorbing it faster, which we think is a really good benefit for people to understand, their tolerance and how much they're consuming, because you feel that effect faster, and it'll give you you'll have a better ability to really moderate your consumption and figure out that sweet spot of where you like to feel.
Now I know what nanotechnology is, and I understand the importance of it being able to dilute for drinks and things like that, but I never knew that your body absorbs the medicine faster. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, we probably need to get the word out there, because there's probably this, like, somebody out there is like, oh, I got an hour before the game starts, or I got to be at the game, or be where I'm not going to be around my parents. Sure. Or the in-laws. I'll be out of here in an hour. I'll just take this, and then 10 minutes in, they're like, we got to go.
Feeling it.
You got to get out of here.
Feeling it.
So that's pretty cool. Before we go and kind of really show these most recent products that are about to hit the market, I want to talk a little bit about something we had mentioned earlier. So you guys had applied for a couple of cultivations. You didn't get those licenses, and I want to kind of cover the challenges that come with being a manufacturing facility that doesn't have their own cultivation. Brooke, do you want to kind of touch on that, how that's been?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to mince words. That part's not fun. Luckily we have developed some good relationship with some cultivators, and so that's been helpful to us. But, you see our building here, and we have 75,000 square feet right next to us in an adjoining hall that we thought we'd have a couple of cultivations sitting there, and it, just roll biomass down the hallway versus trying to get it from somewhere else, would have been a lot easier. But, that part's tough. I can't, lie about that. We have a state-of-the-art facility here, and we're dying to make products for the Missouri market, and, we've had our hands tied a little bit. But the cultivators are getting up and going, and like I said, we've been pretty lucky to secure some decent relationships with some cultivators, and that's helped. And we're about to release these products you're seeing on the screen right now, so we're lucky in that aspect.
Yeah, so let's go ahead, and James, if you want to pull that up, let's show these products, and these are all packaged up, with the exception of the ones that are open for us. They're next to them. They're all packaged up, ready to go out to lots of different dispensaries across the state. So what are we looking at here, Dylan?
So that was the crumble you first saw. This is our shatter right here, and that has not been ran through our CRC. Then this lighter shatter you see has been ran through our CRC.
So the one to the left didn't go through the CRC. That's why it's darker in color. The one in the middle went through the CRC, and that's why it has that lighter color. So the first one is more of a full spectrum. The second one is not, and then the third one is what would have came out after that last batch, the sheet that you were holding up. If you had done the Laffy Taffy pull, whatever it's called, and put it back in the oven, eventually it's going to come out to look like that. Okay. So where can we find these products? Are literally about to be shipped out any day now, right? So where tomorrow, right? So these products are these the first concentrates that are in Missouri?
Besides vape cartridges, yeah, but from what we know, this will be the first solvent concentrates that hit the market. And I just want to throw out, we wanted to bring a couple different SKUs, so we did a shatter and a crumble for the patients, and we did a CRC. We just did 1 pound of it. We just kind of wanted to show, thank you for your live show here, and patients can see what CRC does to a product, and then obviously they can see what not CRC does as well. So.
Sure. So let me ask you this. We kind of on the two earlier we were talking about this. You see all the other manufacturers who have come out. It's primarily edibles and some carts, right? So. Sure. The reason why not go that route? Because from what I understand, you can produce a lot more gummies with X amount of product than you can with these particular styles of concentrates. Is that correct?
Well, that's 100% correct, and I completely understand why manufacturers are just doing the gummy route. And no matter what Missouri patients think, they are serving more patients by doing that. You just get a lot more yield that way than you do with the concentrates. But honestly, we formed a partnership with Greenlight. And we're making Greenlight concentrates for them. So what you're going to see tomorrow is in Greenlight dispensaries in St. Louis and Kansas City and COCO dispensaries in our 3 locations. You'll see those concentrates. We also, hopefully in the next few days, you'll see some Crumble in a few other dispensaries that we formed really close relationships with. A lot of people in the Missouri I was just saying before we even started, cannabis is small in Missouri, and we've really gotten to know and become friends with several groups, and they've been good to us, and we want to be good right back. And so you're going to see it in Old Route 66 and Kansas City Cannabis and In Bliss and who else? I'm forgetting someone. Nature's Med. You're going to see our products there as well, but yeah, we're excited. It just doesn't go as far.
So they're all getting those products tomorrow, or
no? Greenlight and COCO.
Okay.
Get them tomorrow, and In Bliss will have it tomorrow, and in Kansas City they'll have the Greenlight in Kansas City. Well, they could possibly have it tomorrow as well, and then Nature's Med and the rest are going to get them next week.
Okay.
Before 420.
Before 420.
Before 420.
So. You heard it here, you guys. Concentrates.
Nobody's sleeping here.
No, nobody's sleeping. Like I mentioned earlier, they have been going nonstop for the past pretty much month, but not taking a single day off. They're here every day, and because they finally have this amazing product they're going to get out to patients here in Missouri, because it's the very first of these types of products. So,
and not to interrupt, but just being in the dispensaries as much as I am, and I think most of the dispensary owners out there would agree with me, besides vapes, I bet probably 15 times a day we get asked, when are you getting concentrates? When are we getting concentrates? So it's the most requested item, in the market out there. So we're super excited to bring it to Missouri. And I also want to say that we took our time developing these products, and these guys didn't mention it, but the THC level in this, you guys say
what? So we tested the total THC 74%. We were very happy with that. The trim was roughly 8 to 10.
So wait, let me slow you down. So the trim that came in to make this was 8 to 10%.
Yep,
and
roughly.
Then after you got done with it, it came out to 74%.
Yeah, so 74% total THC. Our THC was about 2.7, and our THCA, which obviously when you ignite it and goes through that decarboxylation process, will convert to THC within your body, but that tests at 71%. So total, about 74% THC, and they'll see that shatter, and then the crumble following shortly after over the weekend and Monday within the COCO dispensaries, Greenlight, In Bliss, Nature's Med, and Old Route 66 as well.
All right.
Well, and these guys, we were super diligent about the testing process. As Sean was saying, we tested the trim, then we did small runs. We tested those, and then once we were satisfied with that and it all came back, then those guys started working nonstop, just round the clock and blasting like crazy. But we took our time. We want people to know that you're about to get a really good quality product, and we have ran it through. It went through testing 3 times basically before it came to Missouri.
We really just want to make sure you guys are going to get a consistent, clean product, and we did that. We have some of our residual solvents reaching about 50 parts per million, which I think the threshold's like 500. Yeah.
Wow.
So high THC and basically no solvents. So really test. These guys.
And that's another thing I'll say about extraction. So, the prep work that went into it, destemming and pulling out what we would call imperfectants that we don't want within the product. We did a lot of screening before we even grinded the product and put it through the process of an extraction.
So just for people who don't understand those numbers that you gave us, you said that the threshold is 500 parts per million. That's on the residual solvents, right? Yep. And then you guys came in at 50.
Yep.
And that was probably on the higher side. We had some in 46, 38. I think we had some down in the 20s. So the less residual solvents, the better, right? No one wants any any sort of anything in something they're inhaling. But to put that in perspective, you get far more exposure to a butane when you use a lighter on a joint than you do in the residual levels that we're talking about.
Oh, wow.
So it's extremely, extremely clean.
So even that 500 threshold is
Passing.
That's passing the
What
same
I was going to say is like it's already pretty stringent, right?
Yep.
Because just the rules and regulations for the cannabis industry are even further and more stringent than any other industry that's out there. So that 500 is probably already pretty.
It's tight levels.
tough.
In fact, in
Sure.
other states, 5,000 is the threshold. So Missouri did right by the patients and making it difficult for manufacturers. Like, you got to be low on your residual solvents. It's got to be a clean product, and we really try to go the extra step to make sure it's as low as possible.
Wow. What? So you said the 5,000 was what's
In other states,
in
when
other
we're talking
states.
about residual solvents, some states
wow.
have that maximum threshold acceptable limits at 5,000, and Missouri's at 500.
So 5,000 other states, 500 Missouri, and you guys pulled in a whopping 50 on that
50,
one.
yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And
Congratulations.
they didn't mention that, but those slabs are sitting in the ovens for 5 days. So, and every evening they're flipping them and they're keeping an eye on them. I mean,
Pull back, increase temperature. We, our own little, process on our own technique on how we do it. But yeah, roughly 5-day purge and temp, and
That's a lot of
yeah.
Laffy Taffy pulling.
It's a lot of left taffy pull. Got some arms on us now.
forearms,
Yeah.
You
Good
guys
grip.
going to be Popeye, yeah. Get you some spinach up in here to help you guys out. Well, cool. I love that. So that's not it, though, you guys. There's one more product that I'm very excited to help you guys announce here. And there's been tons of stuff all over social media. A lot of people just really wanting RSO oil or FICO. And you guys are going to be the first to roll that out, right?
well, I don't know if we'll be the first,
But
but
one of the
we're-
first. So that's you had mentioned it's probably going to happen in May sometime. And not only that, but you guys are working with Kansas City Cannabis Company on a patient-focused program, and they're going to be offering FICO at cost to patients in need starting in May when they get that product. So, which is amazing to me. I mean, obviously, everybody's invested all these dollars, so for them to be able to provide that at cost and not make any money off of it, it speaks volumes for that organization. It speaks volumes for you guys to want to roll that product out, because I mean, that's you guys. If you took that same product that at X amount of trimming to make that product,
made a lot of
you could have
gummies out
made
of it.
thousands of gummies, right?
For sure.
Thousands of gummies, and made a lot more money than making the FICO, right?
For
But
sure.
you guys obviously care about the patients. You're working with dispensaries like Kansas City Cannabis Company, who cares about the patients, and they're rolling out that whole patient focused program starting in May, potentially when they get the RSO oil here. So kudos to you guys for doing that. Reach out to Kansas City Cannabis Company. Go by there on the 420 event and learn more about that. If you're a patient that has
go get your RSO and then buy other stuff from them too.
buy other stuff. You might as well, because they're giving you that at cost. But it's really important, because that's like the medicine that the people who are in the worst condition need the most, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Terminally ill patients. We're talking about they're already on their way out, but we might as well help them with the comfort level and help their quality of life. And so those are the type of patients they're looking to help out by providing this at cost to them. So wonderful news there. I think we have a little shot video of what those are going to come in here. You want to explain, Sean, what you're looking at?
What you're looking at here is basically the syringe that the FICO will come inside. They're basically 1 gram syringes. They're glass. They come in sealed packages, very, very hygienic. And it's basically, what all syringes are, a tube with a plunger. And I think I end up putting, I'm going to put the tip on. So basically how we get FICO in there, they have these disposable tips. So we would insert it into the vat of FICO, draw up the proper amount within the syringe, and then take off the disposable tip there and put on the sealed tip. So it's a clean product, never been touched. You can put that directly into your mouth if you're ingesting it orally. Those will come in Mylar bags, 1 gram increments, and then even for the most advanced consumer, the state programs, everyone needs to be aware of their purchase limits. And even on the concentrate side, I believe it's 32 grams. I think on the concentrate side is your monthly limit. It's at 32, 34, somewhere in there. And that meshes up well with even, the super aggressive Rick Simpson treatment program for folks that are trying to combat the effects of cancer or reduce tumors. I think even the most aggressive treatment program calls out for 1 gram a day for 30 days. So even folks who are trying to go down that path will still be able to purchase the right amount of FECO or RSO through the dispensary networks and still maintain that treatment program.
I got another difficult question. It may be difficult, who knows. But by the way, if you guys have questions at home, feel free to chime in. If you have any questions about these products, chime in. We'll get that up on the screen for these guys. But that in that little valve you were holding up, how many grams did you say that was?
It's a 1 gram vial,
gram.
yeah.
So how many gummies do you think you can make with what it took to make that?
So if we're talking about milligrams, in that 1 gram, we got 1,000 milligrams there. Okay, so if we were talking on the gummies side, if we're talking 100 milligram packs of gummies, we could have made 10 packs with that same amount of cannabis oil. So you take that times whatever the price of a gummy pack is and multiply that by 10 compared to where these products will sell at. You're basically making 10 times the money.
Yeah. Do your investors know that you're doing this?
They do. Yeah, it's certainly something that we're not dedicating all of our output to it. We do have to make money. Certainly, Brooke knows this better than anyone. Over the last 2 years, all we do is spend money. We've spent millions of dollars. And so we certainly need to make money to stay in business. I think that gets lost on a lot of people. But we certainly have not forgotten about the reason for cannabis, medical cannabis in Missouri. Patients need medicine. This is a medical product, and we want to keep that in focus.
Very cool.
We obviously Kansas City Cannabis is a champion of this program, and now we are as well, and we're excited to be a part of it. And this sounds super cliche, but at COCO, we are very grateful for the opportunity. I mean, we worked hard in the application process and commencement and all that. For sure, we worked hard, but I feel like we've been given an opportunity, and we need to give back as well. A lot of people wanted these licenses, and we were fortunate enough to get some. And so we need to be every day humbled and grateful for the opportunity we've been given. And I preach this to these guys every day. They're young and they're still learning. And I'm like, you got to be grateful for work. You got to work hard for sure, and we have. But you got to be grateful for it too. So it's just one small way to give back, and we wanted to be a part of it.
Sure, and it makes. At least for me, whenever with the magazine, stuff gets stressful sometimes because we're dealing with so much stuff. But whenever I meet that one patient that's like, hey, man, I really appreciate what you guys do. Thank you so much. It's changing the quality of my life. I'm like, oh, that's the motivation. That's all the motivation
Absolutely.
I need to keep doing this 3 weeks in a row with no break like you guys have been doing here recently.
Go
Right?
be in a dispensary for just like 4 hours, and you will hear a lot of those comments, and it makes it all worthwhile.
It does. We have one more product, and this one's not available quite yet. Oh, actually, we do have a question here from Richard Gregory. Will the concentrates be coming to the Cape location tomorrow? Cape Girardeau, is assuming.
I think he must be asking about Greenlight. I don't think they're coming to Southeast Missouri tomorrow.
Okay.
Maybe not tomorrow, but they are.
They are coming,
Missouri.
and yep, they are coming. The Cape will have them. But I don't think it's tomorrow.
Yeah,
There's a lot of green light, so
they're picking up, and basically they're going to take it to KC, just being transparent, and then from KC they will distribute to the rest of their stores. So if it's not tomorrow, I'm sure over the weekend or Monday, I'm sure before 4/20.
Yeah, before Tuesday.
Yep.
great question.
But you have to show the Macron. We can't let you.
Yes,
we can't let
we
this go.
will.
Okay.
No,
Just making sure.
To keep the questions coming, though, we'll get back to those here shortly. But here is, did you say Macron?
Well, it's
Or
French,
Macron.
and we're in Clarence, Missouri, but
Macron.
the best we got is Macron. We've been told it's Macron. I think it's Macaron or something. But
Okay, well,
ooh la la.
I had my first. These are uninfused here. These are part of the R&D, and we got to try some samples today. But can you, Brooke, you want to tell our viewers what is a Macron?
So I'm sure a lot of you out there are very familiar with this cookie. It's essentially made with almond flour and egg whites, and it's just has to me, the weirdest, most yummy texture because it's crispy yet it's chewy. It is a French cookie, and I've actually personally never tried to make them. I'm a little scared to try, but it has a lot to do with humidity and doing it just right. But we have paired with a local baker. That's another thing I'm super excited about. She lives in Shelbina, which is another tiny town. That's where I grew up, 10 miles from here, and she's kind of a little famous around here for these cookies. So we have paired with her, and she is teaching our staff how to make them, and then these two sitting here will infuse them. But what you see there is a cookies and cream, Macron, and a cake batter. And then you guys tried them. So what do you?
They were delicious.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
So before we opened the lab, we opened the lab to the city of Clarence. You know, there's a lot of really curious people around here. I mean, let's face it, cannabis is kind of something new here. So we had about almost 100 people come through the lab, and we gave out Macrons, and people just went crazy for them. And if you do go to Kansas City Cannabis, opening on 420. Our guy, Skylar Thomas, is going to be there, and he's bringing some samples of those, and you will not be disappointed.
They're sort of like Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop.
No, you can't.
You can't just have
one. You can't. They're so good.
Which is good. We're going to sell them in a sleeve of 6. So they'll be 10
but
milligrams each.
Don't eat too many in one night.
Yes, right. I'll make sure to read the numbers on it, but yeah, they're so delicious. That's part of you got to be careful because, you know, if you're a patient, sometimes you take your medicine, you get more hungry.
Sure.
And so make sure you have something else there you don't just gobble all them up. Sure. But we're looking forward to that product. When can we expect this in our dispensaries?
Once again, probably May.
Yeah.
May.
Yeah. Once we get some distillate and nano-emulsify it, but they'll be in packs of 6, 10 milligrams each. So a pack will be 60 milligrams.
There'll be a variety of pack of flavors.
And they're meant to be kept cold, right? So
no, you don't have to keep them cold.
Okay.
So what we would say to dispensaries is that they keep really well in the freezer. So you can freeze them, then just set them out in like a thaw and sell program. But you don't have to. You mean if they're baked that day, you can.
Okay.
They're good for 3 or 4 days just sitting out. No worries at all.
I just didn't know if they needed to look for the refrigerators to find them, but I guess that's a per dispensary question.
That is
where to find them.
Probably at COCO, we will, in limited quantities, but
Probably
we will have them
refrigerated.
shelf stay. We will probably set them out on the shelf coming out of a freezer.
Okay.
Yep.
Very cool. So another great product to look for in May, along with the RSO oil. But the other products coming out tomorrow to all those locations. Super excited about that. Any other questions, James? You guys feel free to chime in with questions about any of these products. Don't forget to tag a friend to bring them into this conversation. You also get entered into the gift cards. We have 2 free gift cards to Kansas City Cannabis Company. Do you guys have any final thoughts, or do you have anything that we may have not covered, or any questions that I may have missed that help tell the story or help tell some future things coming up? Or
Well, we just appreciate you guys coming and taking a look at our little kingdom here. We're super excited to be here in Missouri, as hopefully I've portrayed to everyone. And I do have one. I can't tell you fully, but I do have a little bit of exciting news. And Clayton, if it's okay with you, we might even share this on 420 at Kansas City Cannabis. But we are this close to announcing a partnership with a national cannabis company, and super excited about that. I was hoping we'd get to announce tonight, and we actually was on the phone with them earlier, and we're now about this close. But I'm a little sports superstitious, so we're going to wait to announce when everything's official. But you're going to see some really great products coming out of COCO really soon.
Well, we already have seen some great products, but obviously we have some more exciting things on the way. And maybe you guys are going to be a part of the live broadcasts at Kansas City Cannabis Company's grand opening. So maybe by then, Skylar could maybe give us an update. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he'll be able to.
Cool.
And I think most of the patrons in Missouri are going to be pretty pleased with what we've got going on.
Very cool. So how can people, do you have some sort of text program or email program with your dispensaries where people can get updates on when some of these new products are on the shelves?
Well, obviously, we want you to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, on social media, and we have a really, really great social media guy who is posting almost every day. And so if you follow that, you're going to really be up to date. And then we've launched a new website, and I'm not the best person to talk about that, but you can sign up on the website.
Yep,
and
it's an email program.
Yeah, it's an email program, and he's going to keep everybody up to date through that as well. And honestly, looking into texting, but we have not done that yet.
Sure.
So,
just
I think emails are probably the best way to email or social media. I think when people get too many texts, they opt out a lot of times. So, but I think the email thing's good, or Facebook. So follow COCO Labs. I think you have two separate Facebook pages, one for the dispensaries and one for the labs. So follow them both.
Yeah, but you can get to the labs through COCO dispensaries as well.
Okay. So follow them on social media. Looks like we have a question here from Mike Falselman. He asks, what solventless options will be available at the KC show?
So I think he's talking about the KC show, the 420
The 420 event, okay.
I'm not sure there will be any solventless options available, but that is something that we are planning on doing. We're going to hopefully source some equipment through low temp plates, and here in the future we will be producing some solventless for the patients.
But the other products, the shatter and the crumble, those will all be there by the 420 event, right?
Yep.
So, yeah. Well, I think it will be at Kansas City Cannabis by 420. It will definitely, it's going to be in Greenlight tomorrow.
Okay.
And it's going to be in Greenlight, Nature's Med, and In Bliss, and more than likely Kansas City Cannabis by 420.
There you go. So that's the goal. Things with this industry are always very difficult because you ask guys to work for every day for 3 weeks in a row for 12, 16 hours a day, and at some point they're going to give in.
we need
they're trying.
We need break too.
They're trying their best, trust me, and for them to stick around late at night here and not be working, we're probably keeping them from getting it there. So it's probably our bad.
Yeah, no, we don't.
They have no life. They're fine. They're fine.
This is our life now.
We have another question here from Sean Michael Wilcox. The third product you showed that went through the taffy pool, has that final product been through the CRC process?
So no, it has not been through the CRC process. I believe he's asking that due to the coloration enhancement, but that's literally just through the agitation and oxidizing that it kind of gets that brighter color.
Yeah, we only did one run through CRC. That was just a 1 pound run just to show the patients what CRC can do. Everything else has just been a normal butane extraction, and then agitation and our taffy tech to make the crumble. So.
All right. Well, I don't know if we have any last minute questions. We're getting pretty close to getting time here. Anything else that you guys want to mention that we may have left out?
All I'd say is, check us out on Instagram, COCO Labs Co. On there, COCO Dispensaries on Instagram. COCO Labs Co. will be doing different product features. We've already started to roll out brands and photos on there, so that's going to be our main point to educate people on our brands: Mojo, COCO, Cochiba, Hotbox. These are all brands you'll see us roll out on our Instagram. That's where we try to educate people on what the brands are about, what the products are like, what they look like. So Instagram's a really great tool for us, and we always answer messages through there. So anyone who wants to talk to us directly, it goes to all the people here on the team. So if you have a very specific question, you'll get the right person to answer that.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then one other thing I just remembered, you guys have a line of CBD products too, right? That's going to be available at all your dispensaries, and we even saw some CBD diamonds. I've seen diamonds on the THC side, but I didn't even know that was an option on the CBD side. So is that a product that you can find in?
You can find those in COCO today. for sure. And the one plug for COCO dispensaries that I have to say is I realize that we're off the beaten path up here in North Missouri, but you won't be disappointed. Come check us out. Our dispensaries are beautiful, and everybody that comes in, you're going to feel welcome, you're going to feel comfortable, and we're super proud of our dispensary staff. And I promise they are second to none, and I mean that. And I've been doing retail a long time, and they're advocates for the patient and for the plant, and very excited about their job. And we just have some great people up here, and so come check us out. You might have to drive a couple hours, but what else you doing? It's a good drive.
Well, I see them every month delivering magazines, and I couldn't agree with you more. They're always super friendly, super happy to see me, and I ask them about what's going on, and they're just always in a great mood, and it seems like they really enjoy what they're doing. So
great people.
They are.
We are lucky we found them as well.
Yes, very great people. So lots of great products. You guys, this COCO Labs, they're very, very locally involved in the community here. They have been before licenses were awarded. They are now even more by providing jobs opportunities. The majority of their staff, as we mentioned earlier, has come from Clarence or the surrounding areas around this area. So they're supporting their community. They're rolling out patient products or patient-focused products, and they could have just made gummies first thing and got their profit or got back some of the interest that the long road of recovering interest that they have to go ahead of them. But instead, they chose to roll out products that a lot of patients are really in need of right now, these concentrates. And then also the RSO oil, the FICO is pretty much the same thing, right? So the FICO, they're rolling out next month sometime. So we really appreciate you guys and what you're doing for the community. Thank you so much for helping your local community, for helping Missouri patients, for rolling out the products that people have been just desperately asking for online and social media. So thank you for doing that. Any last words to our viewers here?
Thank you all very much appreciated, and happy to be on the show.
Yeah, thank you guys. We'll have to come back in the future, check in, see how things are going. Can't wait to see the FICO roll out. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you for having us out. I want to say quick thanks to our production crew here, James Thomas behind the computer with Level Up AV, Cat King Films there behind the camera. We all made this drive out here. It's about 2.5 hours from Kansas City, but we really appreciated the opportunity to do our first live show from a manufacturing facility, and hopefully it'll be one of many to come. So thanks for having us out here tonight, you guys. We really appreciate it, and kudos to what you guys are doing. Join their social media, guys. Follow them online, COCO Labs, COCO Dispensaries. That way you can find about where you can find their products. You can find out about new products that they're rolling out, and potentially find yourself a Macron here in the near future to nibble down on. Join us at our 420 event, Kansas City Cannabis Company. That's at their Blue Springs location. COCO Labs is going to be out there. Skylar's going to bring some of those Macrons. I hope I'm saying that right. I feel like I'm not French at all when I say it. But so come out to that event. Lots of vendors going to be out there. We're going to be doing a live broadcast from 3 o'clock all the way till 8 o'clock that day. So there'll be a DJ, there'll be food trucks, all kinds of fun stuff. Swing by there. I think, COCO, you guys are having your own 420 event too, right? Do you want to plug that? Or?
Well, we are going to do some fun stuff in our dispensaries, not near to that level, but if you come to any COCO dispensary on 420 between 11 a.m. and 2, we're literally going to give you a free lunch. Nice. If you have we are requiring that you have a patient card, and we would like for you to register with COCO, but you're going to get a free lunch. We're going to have some CBD specials, some THC specials. That's going to be put up on social media tomorrow, probably. I think it's coming out tomorrow or Saturday.
Giveaway.
Oh yeah, we're doing a giveaway.
And is that at all your locations?
Yep. Correct. We are doing It's a Bobo Bong. I don't know if you've heard of them, but it's a handmade. You have to check her out. It's Ashley Cook, and she does It's a Bobo Bongs, handmade Missouri glass. They're beautiful. And so she's doing custom bongs for us. We carry them in our stores now, and we're going to be giving one away at each location. So Yeah, we have some fun stuff going on. Should be a good day.
So
I'm new to this whole 420 thing, so I didn't realize it was like the Super Bowl.
It is. It is. So you have lots of options if you're from around this area, or let's see, you have Chillicothe, you have Moberly, and Hannibal. Sorry. So if you're around those areas, those are your closest 420 spots to jump over, get a free lunch, check out their dispensaries, purchase some medicine so you can continue to have a great 420.
Oh, and then check out our shirt. We got a really cool 420 shirt, that's going to be on special that day.
Check out the front again. So it's a clock there. Obviously has so you can find these shirts at the COCO dispensaries. I had my hoodie on earlier, but it got pretty hot.
COCO does have cool swag.
They have some really cool gear.
We do.
I had a hoodie. I'm sure you guys have seen me wear it because I wear it all the time. It's my favorite hoodie, and it's over there somewhere. But it says Dope Soul, and it has their logo on the side. It's super soft black hoodie. They have some really, really cool gear there at COCO Dispensary. So swing by there, see them on 420, get a free lunch, say hello. If you're in the Kansas City area, come by Kansas City Cannabis Company's grand opening. COCO will have Skylar out there at that event. So thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Like I said, jump on their social media, find out where these products are going to be starting tomorrow. You can find the state's very first Crumble, very first Shatter at Greenlight, In Bliss, Nature's Med, and then hopefully Kansas City Cannabis Company before 420. And then next month we have some FICO rolling out. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next week. Peace.
Welcome to COCO Labs. The COCO Labs team is very excited and grateful to be a part of the emerging Missouri medical cannabis industry, providing the industry with high-quality concentrates, vapor products, RSO, and edibles. With a limited number of products rolling out this April, they will continue to build their product line throughout the year. Check them out online at cocolabsco.com to learn more about the products they offer. The COCO Labs team would like to thank everyone for this amazing opportunity to serve you.